Looks
Holly,
fantastic.
I'll put the music back on. Hello, everyone. Y'all, this is going to be an amazing, amazing event. My sister's here. So I guess I gotta put on my, my normal, welcome. Thanks everybody for joining. For those who are watching the live or the replay, whatever channel you're coming in from, I'm so excited you're here. Drop your comments, like, love, and share. And now we're gonna get into the conversation because, like I said, my sister's here. So, I'm gonna kind of calm myself down. I'm gonna give you a chance to introduce yourself, and then we're just gonna run with it and tell the people what we're talking about here about Deep Coalition. So, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, thank you so much, Shelly, for having me on this pie show. I am just super excited to be here with you and everyone who happens to come online or via the recording. I'm Katiya Xiong, and I am the founder of a global movement coined Deep Coalition. And Deep stands for Do Exercise Empathy Proactively, which equals compassion. And so I founded that global movement to pretty much address three primary areas that I wanted to run by people of all industries, all regions, and just various backgrounds. The three primary reasons why I started this global movement was I wanted to see first primarily ordinary people in the spotlight. And I think we're all born ordinary and then we become extraordinary later.
Yes, yes.
And that's perfectly chill or cool with me. And so I wanted to put ordinary people in the spotlight with extraordinary people. So not separating them from the 1%, but saying, hey, we're also part of the 1% in ways that we can contribute to their growth. And so that's one of the reasons, making sure that ordinary voices, ordinary people, average, everyday citizens are included in conversations and included everywhere and anywhere as much as possible in the day-to-day lives of how we carry work and life. The
I
second
love it.
reason why I started this global movement is because there seems to be segregation today.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's, if Martin Luther King was still alive, I think he would stand right next to me and pat me on the back and say, yes, Katia, we've checked the boxes. We're hiring more women. We're hiring people of color, etc., etc. But what I'm seeing is that the segregation is beyond what our eyes can see initially, and that segregation is, once you've hired, let's say, the women, the millennials, the blacks and the Asians, etc. What plan do you have in place for them to grow? And so I'm on LinkedIn. I'm alive and breathing. That's my main platform to socialize and connect and build healthy relationships with professionals from everywhere globally. And the segregation that I'm seeing is, we don't have to use the in person, but in person is pretty much, you go to the grocery, right? Let's say you have Target and Walmart. The cool moms shop at Target, or the moms that make more money shop at Target, and the moms like me will shop at Walmart. Or sometimes I'll feel like I can buy something more than I can afford, and I'll go and shop at Target. But the segregation is beyond uh, what we look like in our education, and so it's by stores, by affiliations, how we interact with people, and especially if you're online, you're going to see the segregation where, for example, the Asian American community, when there was a lot of Asian hate, it's primarily the Asians that are flocking to the Asians' posts and commenting.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not seeing a lot of M&Ms there. And same with blacks, right? The black
yeah.
leaders. It's primarily the black community they're supporting. I'm not seeing the Asians supporting the black and the whites supporting the black. And so the segregation, again, it's beyond color, but you're still seeing that. It's very transparent.
Yeah.
And so that's the second reason why I started this global movement, was wondering how can I actually, you know, make that gap more narrow and have people actually show that they care about one another, and it's not the same group of people. And so that's the second reason, is the segregation. And the third reason is I want to see people have better control of their life. And by
Mm.
that, I mean, typically, if you're watching the news or you're hearing it from some type of press, for example, it was Zoom. Zoom had a
Hmm.
recent layoff of, I don't know, was it 10 or
Yeah,
15%? But that's quite a
15%.
lot. Yes.
Yeah,
But what I heard from the CEO was, we wish you the best of luck, and it's not your fault. It's not a reflection of who you are. But I hear that same message from almost literally every CEO. And
yes.
so my third reason is, how can we help people to better take control so that when they find themselves, not having the job that they rely on, what can they do in their life to be more proactive about job hunting or building transferable skills?
Yeah.
And so let's not wait for another pandemic. Let's not wait for corporate to tell us that we're sorry, we've got to let you go, etc. And so those are the three reasons. Definitely ordinary people. I'm behind you with the 1% extraordinary people. And the segregation, I definitely want to see it narrow down that gap. And that third reason, as I mentioned, I want to see everyone have better control of their destiny and their journey
I
on their
love
own
that.
terms.
I love that. So one of the things that I love, and for those of y'all who are not connected with to Katya on LinkedIn, you're going to be sorely missing an opportunity. So please make sure, and I'll drop the link in here. But one of the things that I truly admire, and there's a lot of things that I admire about Deep Coalition, is the micro influencer course, and the fact that it teaches you how to cut through the noise, how to build an organic LinkedIn community. And it goes back to what you're saying, putting yourself in a position where you're not waiting until something happens, right? You're even your ability to not only upsell yourself but upsell your products and services. So using these tools that you are giving your clients. Micro influencer is a huge deal because, as you and I know, there's a lot of folks who have thousands of followers on LinkedIn. And quite frankly, there's a lot of noise. So people go on and they have thousands of followers, but what do you do with that? Like, what do you do with that community? So I would love to get your thoughts. Now, I know how I feel about, what are your thoughts around the micro influencer communities?
Yes. So I decided that that was going to be the product because I wanted it to serve as an intentional tool for people to help them grow in not only their career, but also grow their mindset and also discover other parts about them. Because throughout time, just like marriage, we evolve.
Yeah.
Just like becoming a parent, we evolve and our kids evolve. And so the same thing with our career. And so that micro influencer course, I feel that being able to truly build authentic and meaningful relationships, it doesn't require you to, you know, have 100,000 followers or max out the 30,000 connections that LinkedIn allows you to. And the 30,000 connections, I mean, are the one or the first connections. And
Yeah.
so, learning how to build your own community, that's something that I think we can all take pride in. And so we can definitely be involved in Deep Coalition's global movement in their community and Shelly's community. And we should also be involved in a variety of communities. But at the end of the day, we should take a look at who we have in our pipeline to help us grow and how we can also help them grow. And so becoming a micro influencer, if you Google up the definition, it basically is a small influencer that has less than 100,000 followers and more than 1,000 followers. But if you look past the data, the numbers, and you read more about micro influencers, you're gonna see that micro influencers, they really care about their audience.
Mm-hmm.
They really want to be present with the journeys of their connections. And so oftentimes you'll see, if you just take a look at me and Shelly, Maybe once a week, I will chime into her post, or I'll make
Yeah.
sure that I thoughtfully comment, or she will cheer me up if I'm feeling down. But if you have, you don't need to have 100,000 followers, but if you have just a goal of, let's say, 10,000 first connections, and you have a variety, you have diverse awarenesses that you're trying to learn about. And so, yes, you can become an entrepreneur and sell a book, or sell a video, whatever you want to sell. That's true. But the goal of building your own online community is that you want to make money, but you also
Yeah.
want to bring value to your audience, and you also want to utilize your audience's expertise. And so, in that micro influencer course, I really teach three things that I think are often overlooked, but it's really powerful to helping you connect with that CEO or that decision maker who's an executive, or even that college student. Should you maybe want to hire a young professional or a young green pea one day for your
Yeah.
business? And so, the three things in that course is about how can you become a really strong researcher. How can you become like a Simon Sinek or a Brené Brown, right? Not like them, but you can understand why research is so important. And how do you, before you connect with me or Shelly, learn more about who we are as people, so that when you reach out to connect, we're going to say, wow, this person is actually someone who I feel can contribute to my community. So I'm going to accept Shelly's invite and connect with her. And so we teach people to become strong researchers and to read people's words and to read what they're saying in between the lines and to study their profile and their social activity. It's not very much different from studying body language, but now we're studying it online, and we're studying that weekly post that I'm putting out there. We're studying how I'm commenting to people. We're studying the hashtags that I'm using, and how can you resonate with those hashtags in my stories. And so the three strong things or people that we build, or three roles that we build, are becoming a strong researcher, becoming a strong reader. I know everybody knows how to read, or most of us, whether it's in English or not. Doesn't matter if you have broken English, because oftentimes I do. But this is a course about expressive writing, so it's not about grammar or spelling. Um, so when you become a strong writer, you're learning how to tap into emotions, you're learning how to write thoughtfully, and how to write in a way that it's your own voice, but you're not really calling people out, and you're able to defend your thoughts and opinions, but at the same time you're being very respectful and you're being professional. And so we teach people, these are the qualities, or these are the exercises that we're going to run you through to become a strong researcher and a strong reader. And then third is the number one, I would say most overlooked, that I don't see on LinkedIn or on any social channels, is how do you become a strong commentator?
Yeah.
So that, I feel that that's something that I did the reversal, where I became a strong commentator first, and then I became a strong reader, and then I became a strong researcher. But we're going to train it through logic by becoming a strong researcher, and then a strong reader, and then a strong commentator. So what do I mean by becoming a strong commentator in the micro influencer course? That basically means that when you are, let's say, reading Shelly's post or my post, right? We wrote 3,000 words. I know most people can only absorb so much information, and I'm like that too. Or even if you listen to a podcast that's 45 minutes, and I know most people don't do that. They'll probably fast forward and read to the points that they find interesting, and that's fine. But even if you fast forward and only listen to 20 minutes, you're gonna start to see that what can you relate yourself with on these talking points, and then you're gonna be like everybody else.
Yeah.
You're gonna take the easy route of, I'm just gonna hit like, or I'm gonna hit great love. But that's not very thoughtful, especially if you want to win the trust of this influencer or this person's post, right? This author's post. So what you're gonna have to do is, obviously, you listen to it, the parts that's interesting to you, and I would, through our training, we would share with you some strategies, such as maybe repeat one talking point that you like back, and then the second or third couple sentences, tell how you relate to it. How do you resonate with those talking points? And then maybe that fifth or sixth sentence in your comment, share an idea. Then that's how you can actually differentiate yourself as a strong commentator. And commentating is no different than writing, but it's a skill that even mega influencers and all types of influencers of different audience size, they struggle with because that means that they're going to have to take the time to really meditate on what the person shared and then thoughtfully and carefully write their 2 cents in a way that benefits them and the audience and the author. And so we really teach you about that. So those are the 3 roles. And so that micro influencer course, as you're learning these roles, you're going to develop different voices. You're going to develop a voice that's authentic, intentional, a voice of clarity. There is no smart way in the world of becoming a micro influencer. It's a lot of hard work. And
Yeah.
it's a 12-week course with 12 writing prompts to write 12 LinkedIn posts. And so you're using expressive writing, you're going through a voice of these different types of thoughts, and a lot of these topics are not against compliance. So let's say if you're an attorney or if you're someone that's in financial services industry, oftentimes you're afraid to talk about what you really feel or think or believe. But we give you the safe topics, such as in the first lesson, we'll ask you, who did you want to be, or who do you want to be when you grow up? But we won't ask it that way. We'll ask it in such a way that you can actually articulate your thoughts. So we'll re-ask it in this way, such as, instead of who do you want to be when you grow up, we're going to ask you, what legacy do you want to leave behind for your family and friends and clients, or your church community, whatever communities matter to you? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind, or legacies? And so with that, it should help you to kind of talk about how you want people to feel when you're in the workplace, or what happens after your retirement. How do you want people to think about you? But back to our earlier point, right,
Yeah.
Shelley?
Yeah.
Don't wait for me to write your Wikipedia or eulogy, or for your kids, because no one knows you better than yourself. And so you might as well, when you're taking this course, you're going to start thinking about those topics, and you're going to start understanding that, yes, it's going to help you become an influencer and have a deep voice, but it's going to help you to better take control of having a voice that can help you to continuously grow, and continuously help you to grow in the direction that is going to help you achieve a pleasant lifestyle. So whatever riches you have in mind, whatever prosperity means to you, it's supposed to help you really align and connect the dots to kind of the missing gaps, or missing tools and resources that you need. Because this 12-week course is not about, here's the recommended tools we have and you should try. It's about, we are a global movement. We have hundreds of people featured in our Deep Voices magazine. We have additional instructors like Shelly. She is in our first season of the course, and so with 10 other instructors. And so no one's going to be bored of hearing my voice and my post only, because that's what we're trying to train is, yes, I may be the author and the creator of this micro influencer course, but there are 11 other instructors that's going to be scattered throughout these 12 lessons. And you're going to be able to tap into their mind and understand their perspective and the expertise and products and services that they offer as well. And so if you are someone who's, highly introverted, this should be something that we're hoping can make you feel at ease and make you feel comfortable to say, well, I don't really like people, and I didn't before. I don't really like humans. But here's a group of people that you can start to interact with, and they're not going to judge you. So here are the instructors. And so you're writing a post, but you're also reacting and you're commenting to these posts in live mode. And so typically with courses, Shelly, or books, it's kind of like a paper that's, once you're printed, it's dead. Right? You read about it and then you love it and then you forget about it, or you apply it once and then you just maybe stash it in the back and so it looks nice in the bookshelf. But this course, um, it takes you back to the actual LinkedIn post. So if you were going to read my post or Shelly's post, it'll take you back to interact with her. Because what's the point of us or micro influencers writing hundreds of posts through our lifetime and nobody goes back into any of our amazing posts? So that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to encourage people to look back into the history. So it's never going to really be the most recent post or the top award that Shelly or I get. Maybe in one of those lessons, but it definitely goes back into history, because sometimes those topics that are, from years ago is still very relevant and they're timeless topics. And so this course does so much to developing you personally. It does so much to developing you as a professional, no matter what occupation you're in. And it does so much to actually elevate the corporate brand. So companies and organizations, and we sell this course. It's B2B, so we don't sell it to consumers, or you wouldn't find the course on LinkedIn or just by going to the website and buying it for yourself. But we sell it through organizations. And so even if you just are an entrepreneur or a part-time entrepreneur, it's the same thing. You can buy it, and when you have employees, they can take it. But it's a subscription course because we're trying to partner with organizations of all sizes. And so you've got your small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and large businesses. And so when somebody partners with us and pays a monthly fee, our smallest plan size is the $99 a month, but then that gives the small business up to 50 tickets, 50 licenses to take the course at any time throughout the year for that monthly subscription. And so, because not everybody's going to rush and take it in that first quarter. So you have to pace it out, right? Maybe have the accounting department take it first and then technology, or you can mix it up. But that course, it should help to really add credibility to the corporate brand. Because you're trying to build your personal brand, but at the same time, you also want the organization that you're working for look good. So because they're the one that's investing in this course for you. And what's great about this course is I really put my ADHD mindset into it, which is I get demotivated really easily. And I think we do. I just think adults don't really admit it. Whether we're reading a book or taking an online course, let's say it's 1 month or 12 weeks. Usually 1/5 of the way, I will lose, like I will be in another land. So we thought that the way to motivate people to continue this course was, because I'm a digital artist, is let's reward them every third of the way. So 1/3 of the way, if you finish the first 3 lessons or 4 lessons, you can get a free digital headshot makeover. So what that means is, you see this very pale white face that I have right now is because of my light. We have a snowstorm outside, so I had to turn on this ugly yellow light or white light. But we can turn your LinkedIn profile picture and make it look into one of those really elegant Wall Street Journal pictures.
It's
so definitely
gorgeous.
Won't look like Simpson. Yes, so you'll look pretty. Even if you're a guy, you'll look good. The brows will be nice and everything. And so everybody deserves an elegant picture. And so as you take the course, we will reward you. Another thing that we reward you midway through is, remember how I was talking about, why are we asking you to write 12 LinkedIn posts? What are we going to do with it? So we're going to take those 12 writing works that you did, and we're going to actually give you a really cool magazine layout that you can plug those LinkedIn posts into. And then once you plug them in, you can download it, and you can actually feature those 12 pages on your LinkedIn profile in the featured section. And so we really try to, through all that we give you, all the little like rewards and the little gifts, we try to make it usable. So you're never going to get a t-shirt or mug from us because there's plenty of that. But what you will get is artwork that you can reuse for yourself on your website, on your LinkedIn profile, email signature, marketing materials, etc. You will get a template that you can put these 12 writings together, and you can download it and share it with your resume should you be job hunting. Imagine how interesting that would be, that
Powerful.
you have a cover
That's a
letter that's 3
portfolio.
paragraphs, yes, and then now you have this portfolio, this personal playbook
Yeah.
that talks about who you are as a human and as a professional, and what your values are. What do you want to achieve in this lifetime, whether it be personal or collaborative? But it really tells people that you are more than your gifts and talents. And so when
Yeah.
they read these 12 essays that you thoughtfully and carefully put together in this personal playbook, that's something that's really going to differentiate you amongst the masses. That took you 12 weeks to do. And so include that with your resume, include that when you're trying to maybe start a side hustle, or
Yeah.
include that when you are maybe trying to connect with people and they want to know who you are, right? You don't want to send them, well, your resume is pretty much spelled out on LinkedIn. But most people don't read that because it's
Yeah.
kind of dry and boring, detailed information, right? About how I, for example, in the past, I would put contributed to $1 million of the
Yeah.
company's revenue.
Yeah. And people are like,
um,
what does that mean?
yes, what does that mean? And that's all very important for the right people. But if you have
Yeah.
this personal playbook, it really tells people more about, your empathy level. And in today's world, empathy is big. Empathy is big if you want to get into a leadership role.
Yeah.
And how you demonstrate that can be through this playbook. And how you demonstrate that can be through the social activity that we're training you through that course. And nothing is more important for any of us than having a social trail that HR or any human can go back and look and say, yeah, she is really walking the talk that she's saying. That she does care for making a difference to one, because look, she just connected with the janitor and shared a post about him, and that
Yeah.
janitor has 0 followers. So yes, she does live up to how she supports ordinary people no matter their
That's true.
title. So that's why it's so important in that course. And so those are kind of some of the lessons that we'll be going through. But it is an expressive writing course at the end of the day. And it is about connecting, and it is about building healthy relationships. And most importantly, it's about helping you to improve the many dimensions of wellness. So it's not just wealth, it's not just about making money or selling. It's about selling your words first, and then you can sell whatever you want. But it's more about, improving your mental health. It's more about how can you learn more about financial education. It's more about the other types of wellness, such as having peace at the workplace, work and life balance, etc., etc. And so this course itself should be something that you can go back, every 6 months and see, oh, as long as my organization is subscribed to it, every 6 months, Deep Coalition rotates instructors. So
Yeah.
it'll be a new set of dozen instructors again 6 months from when you took it. So we hope that this will be something that can pair up beautifully with HR at your organization, so they can actually make it a part of professional development on an ongoing basis.
I love that. I wanted to touch a little bit on some of the misconceptions around micro influencers, because as we're saying this, I'm thinking about those of you all who are in jobs today and you're working for, so you're working at an organization, whether it's small, medium, or large. And if you're in a sales job, accounting job, you're in HR, it really doesn't matter what function you're in, professional services, you're a project manager, whatever your role and your function is, you by nature are an influencer, because you're influencing people to make a decision, whether it's to buy your product, buy your project, you're trying to get sign off internally or externally, whatever it is. And so the idea around influencing is using this course so that you can position yourself in a different way. So a lot of times people go on LinkedIn and they'll see something that looks and smells like roses, but it makes no sense at all. So there's a lot of folks on LinkedIn that are throwing out posts, but they don't have a community. And so the idea that if you're in, say you're a project leader right now and you're trying to build out your own professional development, you want to be a senior leader tomorrow, or you're a CEO today and you're trying to build empathy and things like that. you're leveraging this course to help you position your own thought pattern, to become an actual thought leader. The idea that this is going to help you become a commentator, again, one that is vetted, right? Have gone through this course, and that really helps you shift and shape the way that you communicate to the community that you're building. So it's not about, if you reach out to me, I know pretty quickly if you're just trying to sell me something. And even those folks, I have a method in the way that I respond to people who I know are just trying to sell me something. So I have that built into my own strategy, because you never know, right? So as someone who has the influence over the community that I'm building, notice I'm not saying followers, and we've never used that word, right? We're talking about
Yes.
community. There's a difference. So how do you manage the community that you are building on social media so that you can generate something, right? Generate interest, generate business, generate products and services, if you're in the healthcare field, whatever that looks like, right? So it's that. And so I highly encourage those of y'all who might have heard the word influencer and thinking that we're selling tchotchkes on YouTube. We're not. Okay? This isn't about selling t-shirts and all that stuff. This is, how do you build up your own professional development, your skills, your talent, so that you can build the community that you need, and you're going to need them whether you're with your current organization or not. That's the truth. That is the truth, and we all actually, we need that, right? To the point you made about watching all of these layoffs happening right now, and I'm thinking, I have a really good sense of the community that I've built, so that if something happens, I can reach out. But I've invested time in sharing my personal journey and being vulnerable. And you actually, expressive writing is something that you leaned into me last year. And I'm telling you, it has made a world of difference. There are a lot of folks that are vulnerable on LinkedIn, and it's not real, it's not authentic. So you can tell when it's like an Instagram post and I'm next to my new car and I'm just saying, that kind of post, versus creating posts that are vulnerable, that literally are showing you, like, gosh, I've had a rough. I can tell, like, if people know, if I put something out, if there's a sense that I've had a rough day, I get a bunch of messages that say, I'm just checking on you, how are you doing? That's the community that you're building, right? It's not about just adding a bunch of connections.
Yeah. And I actually will share a personal story. So I told my husband that, I mean, he wasn't the hottest guy I dated. And he actually didn't even have the looks that I really liked it. Tall, dark, and handsome. No. But what he did have was one in a million that I saw was he had no shell. So my husband was when I was dating him, he was very transparent, and he didn't realize that that was what I found attractive about him. Is that he, showing his true skin, showing who he really is, vulnerable or not vulnerable. And for me, when I was able to see that part about him, that he was the same person at work and at home, the way I am, even though I have a more, I would say, maybe more aggressive personality, or maybe I'm someone who I feel, would monopolize a conversation between me and my husband completely. But I'm able to see that because we both don't have shells, our marriage, it's very healthy. And so that's the same way I look at, if you just Google LinkedIn, it'll show you that, it's no secret. It's a networking platform. It's a relationship building platform, right? What does that mean?
Yeah.
So we have to figure out how to do that, because it has messaging built in. It's got millions of people on from all over the world, and everybody's talking about the awards or bad news.
That's
Right.
right.
And then everybody's sharing the same thing over and over. So it's like there was a Super Bowl, and you were probably one of the few that said, I didn't even watch it, Katia.
I know,
And
like, no.
yes, and I was there for the show, Rihanna's show, really pretty much it. But But then there was this interpreter. She was interpreting um, the
She's in the sign
yes,
language.
she's doing the sign language, right?
Yep.
But then everybody, not everybody, there was a lot of people that were
Yeah.
sharing it. And my
Yeah.
thoughts were, why do we only wait to share when it's on the big news? Because I've been
Exactly.
talking about helping disabled people
Yes.
forever. And if you go through my social activity, you would see maybe every 6 months I would share someone who is living with disability, who is an influencer. But why do we have to wait until there's big news out there on everything? Why do we
That's
have
right.
to allow the press to tell us that this is the right time to share
That's
it?
right. That's right.
And so that's why we're not making progress at all, or not making much progress. I'm sorry. I think we are
Yeah.
making progress, but it's been very, I would say, slow from what I see.
Yeah.
And
You got to shout out.
yes, yes, thank you. Yes,
True.
right. Because I mean, I get really emotional when I see, let's just say, I have my black friends are telling me, it's great. This organization is setting up an employee resource group. I said, for all of you to hang out together. But where is leadership? Are they stepping in from the throne once a month to come and mingle with you and also listen to you? Very rarely, from what I see online and from what they share with me. And I could be wrong, but that's from what I
You're
observe, and
right. Like
I'm
I
a very
said,
keen observer.
she's my sister, y'all. So
Yes,
whatever.
yes. So I know it's like these intentions are great, what our leaders are doing, and CEOs, right?
Yeah.
And all of us, but we have to kind of wake up and step out of these habits, because
Yeah.
it's not really making progress. And
Yeah.
I think the beauty of it is not to think about, great, now I have to think about something that's great to do, something big. Actually, I don't think it's necessary to dream big. I'm a small dreamer. I think it's necessary to dream small and do small things, because even dreaming small and doing small things,
They
we
add up.
can't even do it.
Yeah. And they add up.
Yes, I mean, I used to sell insurance. I couldn't even sell it to my parents. And at that time, when I was right out of college, they didn't even have life insurance. See how hard it was to sell? But eventually they bought it. But the point is, doing small things will add up. It's collective.
Yeah.
And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's collectively uh, joining the efforts of other people. And so I think that if everybody can do reasonable and meaningful things, especially sharing how we're doing it versus talking what we're supposed to do, because I think why and what and where and when and who, I think those, when you become an adult and you've been in the workforce for a while, no matter which industry you're in, I think we understand that. Just give us the quick overview. But I think what's hard is that people are not sharing how. And
Yeah.
how shouldn't have to be something that people have to beg for, or
That's
that
right.
people have to feel like you owe somebody something. So an example I'll say is, okay, here's an example of how do you stand out from the masses? um,
Hmm.
how can your profile stand out? Well, I just gave you two. There's that artwork for your profile picture, and then there's that playbook. Here's how, and we're showing you how to put it together in that course.
Right.
Another how is, how do you get the attention of people that you have nothing in common with?
Yeah.
Well, we're all humans and we all have a lot of the very same habits. We all appreciate some kind of humor or comedy. And so I guarantee there's going to be something that you're going to find about Mr. CEO or about the janitor that you can connect with, as long as they're willing to share. And so being able to constantly show how, and those little how actions, is so important to be able to become a thought leader, to be able to be great one day, to be able to make money. And so I think there's a lot of literature out there about being the top and being the greatest or being the best. But for me, I always struggle with that, because I think it's okay if you've all seen the movie, the Disney Pixar movie Encanto.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to be average, but you can
Yeah.
be very good as an average person. And I feel that I'm that way. I feel that I am ordinary, I am average, but there are some things that I'm really good at that I think maybe billionaires are not even as good at. And maybe it's my broken language that I can speak in three languages simultaneously that they would never get. Whatever it may be, um, everybody has strengths that are making them who they are, that are extraordinary. And that's something that I think we can latch to, and we can help people how they can communicate that to the world to show their identity. So it's not just coming out of the closet that, it's reserved for gay people. I think for
Yeah.
straight people, we have to come out of the closet
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And as we evolve, right, we go through different careers. For me, I've been in the disability insurance industry. I've interviewed disabled people. I saw my own sister-in-law die from breast cancer. She literally died in front of me. And that
Wow.
30, 60 seconds when her eyes changed color, and it was kind of just foggy white, I was scarred. I got scarred, and I got scared because that made me realize how intentional I have to be with my energy, which is
Yeah.
very different from time. So
Yeah.
a lot of people, they'll go on social media, we'll just say LinkedIn since we use that platform, and they will, do the usual quick reading and react, but they don't really take a look at their audience or wonder, how do I want to build my LinkedIn community?
Yeah.
I've got Shelly, I've got Katiya. Let's say Katiya she likes to talk about disability awareness, and Shelly likes to talk about,
Yeah.
working-life
Everything.
balance, yes, and everything. But there's also
Yeah.
other people. Why don't you also
Yeah.
try to connect with those who are human trafficking counselors? Why don't you also
Yeah.
try to connect with a police officer, a nurse, a janitor, maybe a CEO in different industries, in aerospace and financial services industry? Maybe you can connect from a couple of people from Asia and from Europe. It really allows you to grow. And as you're connecting with diverse people and diverse topics, the key is the diverse community. Imagine if you were, I don't know if any of you have ever played that old game, the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Yes. So the number one thing that bothered me in that game was that there was only so many occupations. You could be a carpenter or a farmer, and I forgot what the other occupation was. Maybe a hunter. Yes. But that's really how we look at life today, is we look at just the two or three common things,
Yeah.
and the two or three common friends that we have, whether it's at work or at church or at home. I mean, I know I have 8 siblings. I always have my favorite three. And the others, they just like suck my pantry dry when they come over. So I love them, but I don't like all of them. um, and so for me, when I'm thinking about how do we build a LinkedIn community, how can I train people to build one that can help them to continuously grow?
Yeah.
And so it's diversity of topics, diversity of people and different backgrounds, people of different color, diversity of different regions, diversity of different intellectual levels or different educational backgrounds in schools. Because how often do you see a community college professor going on a fireside chat or webinar with an Ivy League college professor?
Yeah.
You're really never going to see that, but that's what I think is important to do. And I'm not saying that, one is higher than the other, but even if you're saying, we have a CEO of a startup, how often do you see a CEO of a startup talking with a Fortune 500 CEO?
That's true.
Online, right?
Online. That's true.
Yep, it's usually the employees who flock to, the leader or the CEO's
Hmm.
post and say, "Oh, we're so happy that we won best workplace again, 5th year in a
Yeah.
row." And that's all great. I think all of that is needed. The recognition, the love and support within your own organization. But the true diversity there is when we have to overlap, and
Yeah.
we start having these healthy debates, and we start seeing that, what, maybe if I can't become an attorney, maybe I can do this, because that occupation is just part of who I am. Who I
Yeah.
am really isn't my occupation, because we all have so many roles as a parent, a mother, a grandmother, a child, at the workplace, in our church community, or wherever you hang out online as an influencer. And so having that understanding of, it's not just a community that you can sell to.
That's
Yes,
right.
it's a
It's
no-brainer.
bigger
I
than
think
that.
anybody who comes on LinkedIn, it's no
Yeah.
doubt, I expect them all to sell to me. But
Yeah.
how do you make it comfortable to get to that point of selling? Because you want to build that trust first, and the only way that I feel that is authentic to build that trust before I sell to Shelly, is I need to give her my time. I need to
Yeah.
see what vision is she trying so hard to do. who does she care about, and what does she want to talk about, and how can I contribute to that? And maybe through dating Shelly back and forth through several weeks and months, I finally got Shelly,
Exactly.
and we're connected, and we're selling to each other our words and products and services, and we're helping both our communities also talk to each other too. And so I know that when my, one thing that really struck my heart, mind, and soul was when my dying sister-in-law said the same thing that my grandmother said when she passed away was, you have to find your Mr. and Mrs. Rogers. Um,
Amen.
and if you weren't born with connections, which most of us, I don't believe we are born with connections, especially professional connections to help sponsor and mentor us. That's something that we've got to learn on our own through mistakes and failures, and obviously hoping that fate can help us, because not everybody can become a district manager or a VP. There's only so many roles that can be given to people.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a large organization. But how can Deep Coalition, how can through our course, how can we teach people to build people that can help them to build themselves and help them to grow and make money that's enough for them? Identifying your enough. I mean, for me, honestly, my enough is if I make $1 million a year, that's enough for every time a hurricane strikes in Florida and my parents call me about that farm shed that's being destroyed again. I can give them $10,000 every year to rebuild that shed. And so understanding what is your enough when it comes to money, what is your enough when it comes to contributing to society, how you want to help people, what is your enough when it comes to giving your energies to people that matter to you and mentoring them and sponsoring them, and what is your enough when it comes to basically your life. Like, do you want to be able to finally take up on that HR policy and go on a 1-month sabbatical every 5 years? Yes, I think everybody deserves it. But the problem is, when I was saying this to actually a Gen Z friend of mine, and he had asked me this question, and I was waiting for him to ask me. He had asked me, Katiya, so what is one bad money habit that you have and one good money habit that you have? And I said, the only bad money habit that I have is that not having enough money is a crime. And the only good money habit that I have is knowing how to make money. And those are honestly, I think for 99% or the majority of us, is helping people to get there, helping them to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Yes, I appreciate the financial educational videos, but I'm trying to, I can't even save 3% of my paycheck is what I'm hearing from people. And even I used to be in that shoes too. How can you give advice to people when they can't apply it in the near future or immediately? It'll just be like a book that they read and they can store away. And it's great to know, but what we really need to help people is tools and resources that can help them to get there. So will becoming a micro influencer help you to make more money? Yes, it will. It's going to open the door for you to make more money, because yes, you can monetize your knowledge and wisdom. We all have knowledge and wisdom to share, and it's not all the same. And so there are a ton of micro influencer courses out there. I figured out what my strategy is, what I want to say in my micro influencer course, what I think is meaningful for the people and the journey that they're taking as a part of this global movement, and how I want them to carry on in the course once they're done graduating. So unlike most courses, you graduate and you're done. But what I want my learners to understand is, you graduate, yes, you get a certificate, but imagine this. This is something that I shared recently, is wouldn't it be nice if there was a certification or a designation after our last name? So I have DEEP, DEP, next to my name on here. Wouldn't it be nice if there was actually a human social leadership designation that we can all put next to our MBA, or next to CFP, or whatever designation that is affiliated with our profession? Because that, I think people, clients, and consumers can relate. I kid you not. I've seen attorneys, doctors, financial advisors, just people all over the board with fantastic, interesting designations. But I honestly, unless I'm in that industry or in that profession, I can't really relate to those designations.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Yes. So, and I will look it up and I will say, oh, this is interesting. So they have to every year or every 2 years get certified for this. But that's actually for them to
Yeah.
train me. But how, is there a certification or designation that we can share together and that can bond us? And so part of this course is when you graduate after 12 weeks or, however long it takes you to take the course, because it's not a race. Like my 4-year-old son says, Mom, it's not a race. um, Hopefully you can get it done within half a year. But you will get this. You can use the DEEP designation, DEEP, for Do Exercise Empathy Proactively. You can use that. And imagine if your doctor, your attorney, your client, and you all have that designation next to your name.
Now
You
you
can
have a
tell that
connector.
you're one community.
Yeah.
And I have to still ask Shelly. I haven't even shared that with her. So that's actually something that I just brought up on air here. But
Yes.
that's something that I've always felt can connect us together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not just a designation or a certification or a paper, but
Connect.
you can look back at people's LinkedIn social activity and you can see the posts that they've written. You can see how they became a thoughtful commentator, an
Yeah.
authentic researcher, connector. You can see their 6-month interaction with other humans who are different than them, who maybe disagree with them, but they're able to connect with them and bring value to each other. And so that social proof is there, and it's always going to be there once they've earned that the DEEP designation. And so I feel that, in today's world, it's not enough. It's not enough that we're saying, I am a meaningful person or I am
Yeah.
thoughtful. It's not that I don't think people shouldn't trust your word. It's that we don't know you and people don't know me. And
Yeah.
so to say that, I feel that it's not very intentional. But if you say that, then someone who is curious enough, if they research you and look back at your behavior on LinkedIn and your posts and how you treat people online, and it's not very different than how you treat people in person, then that tells them, oh, aha, she is true through and through. Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
someone that you want to associate yourself with, right?
And
That's the
work
big
with
thing,
and
DEI.
sell to and
Yes.
hire or again building the whole community and all that. So I hate to do this. I might have to just have you come back because I have a lot more questions, but we run over time a little bit. But before you go, I just want to make sure that we reiterate, folks, please go to the website. That way you can check out the micro influencer course that we've talked about. There's a lot of really good information. So slow down, go through it, take your time. If you're a business looking to partner or looking to sign your employees up by subscription, this is just, again, regardless of what function you're in, if you've got a full-on new sales team and you need to get these folks ramped up so that they can build a community on LinkedIn, just an example. All the tools and resources are there. Loving the fact that there is a designation so that you're a part of a broader community, and just being your awesome, authentic selves. And so I am so grateful that you came on here and you gave me your time. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I'm trying to keep it together, y'all, but this is definitely one of those rare people who genuinely walks the talk. There's a lot of folks who could care less. They're just making the cash, but they're not helping people along the journey. So I am so grateful for DEEP. If y'all have not seen the newsletters, shame on you. They are amazing. The digital work is incredible. For those of you all who are still following DEEP Coalition, please make sure you're also sharing that with your network and your friends. Don't just go on and like it for yourselves. Don't be selfish.
But I do appreciate the like. Thank you. Any second that you're giving to DEEP Coalition's global movement.
Exactly. We'll take the like. And so with that, we're going to end it here, but we're going to hang out in our back room. So we will tell these people, listen, thank y'all so much for watching, but now she's going to be mine.
Thank you for having me, everybody. Thanks, Shelly.
Absolutely.